way through it.
Well, we can,
Just,
sure.
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I still don't see anything.
It's coming. It's coming.
Maybe
Patience.
it will. I don't have
Patience.
patience. That is just something I don't do.
Oof. All right. You don't do patience.
I don't do patience. I'm not a doctor. I don't
I was waiting for that dad joke.
Ah!
All right. We still dark?
Upcoming live streams?
Well, it wasn't scheduled.
Well, sure.
There it is. Wow, that takes a good minute. Which
Yeah.
is why they have like the do 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 do, you know, the countdown at the beginning.
Sure.
And that was just a hat tip to John and Andy's old tune for their show. They didn't have one this time around. I was so disappointed because it gets you really bopping at that 8-bit music. What do I want to do? Share. I know.
Okay.
Screen.
Are we
Window.
should we social it?
Nah. People will bump into it if they do. Or
Okay.
they don't. Entire screen. Window. Window. That one. Share it. We're good. Wow.
Okay. So let's talk about the one that we have on the list, which is Viva Amplify.
Yes. That's the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the new one that just came in.
Did you put that in a different order, or do I have to synchronize OneNote?
No, I didn't do OneNote. You just have to go back to your listing and look at the brand
The
new
very
message,
first message. Okay. Well, you mean literally? It is fresh and raw. Hey, Chris. What? Hey. We got someone on chat. Should we tell Chris what we're doing?
Yeah. Well, you're calling Chris. It's Christopher.
Christopher, sorry.
Are you
That
abbreviating
familiar with
someone's name without their permission? I don't appreciate that when
look,
people do it to me.
This is just an insight for you, Christopher.
Aha.
But as Daniel and I became friends, I at one point began to call him Dan and was sharply told, "Don't call me Dan."
I don't think sharp.
It was sharp, man. It was really
it?
like quite abrupt. I
All
was
right,
taken
Christopher.
aback by it.
Here's what we're doing, and whoever else is watching, we are going. We're trying something new. We're going through the messages and figuring out what we're going to cover, and we're actually discussing them and a little bit more detail to try to figure out what we're going to do. This is Green Room, basically, and we're thinking about doing this every time. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe
because Daniel,
if Daryl's nice.
I will share with everyone that it's not simply that we, at a whim and at a cuff like we used to in the old days, Daniel. We'd have a list of messages, we'd go live, and we'd just try it out.
Yeah.
But we actually spend about sort of 45 minutes, an hour, sometimes more, just working our way through. And we often get to the end of that before we hit record and start producing the episode. We actually talked about some really cool stuff, and I don't think we're going to remember it.
No, and it really, you're right. The concept, we've actually thought about this a lot in the past about how can we share this with people, just this conversation, because we just had a great conversation around another update. We're like, wait a minute, let's just go live and talk about this, and then we'll do the show. So so anyway, so that's the concept. We're going to talk about it. If you have any input, throw it in chat. You're like, hey, y'all are, being silly or spot on, whatever. And if we say, we're not going to cover this message, and you're like, no, you should, throw that in chat. And then we'll do is we'll be done with this part, and then we'll do the show. So we'll record the show. So that's kind of our intent.
It's also partly that we're crowdsourcing your viewpoints as well, right, Daniel? Because there's definitely some times where we go back over a show and think, maybe we kind of missed the mark because
no.
Kevin Crossman maybe have left a comment in the video to say, actually, guys, this is what it means. And we're like, oh, of course.
I don't necessarily agree with we missed the mark. You may have, but I don't think I did.
Harsh.
I'm kidding, people. All right, let's talk about this.
Yes.
Viva Amplifying. So one thing I saw a demonstration.
Wait. Let's be real about this. I haven't read the message, so let me just go through it quickly.
Oh my
You can
gosh.
be the background
I
podcast
am. I
telling
am
me
going
what
to
it
talk about it.
means while I'm
No,
forming
so
my own
this one
opinion.
is Viva Amplify. You can create a message and send it out to SharePoint and Teams, and hopefully soon Viva Engage. Goodness, it needs to hurry up. And this one is saying, okay, when you do that
Mm.
into SharePoint, you're going to be able to use audience targeting, the
Didn't
SharePoint
it
audience
have
targeting part.
targeting already?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So sorry, if you sent out a message from Viva Amplify to any site,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're already targeting your audience, aren't you? I mean, that's what the point of Amplify is. You're going, I want to send it to these people, and I know that these people use the site. So do you need to then further audience target your message?
Yeah. Because what if you're publishing to the homepage of your intranet, which is everybody, but you're going to audience
Yeah.
target it?
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
but remember, audience targeting is not security, right? So
No.
we're
No.
just targeting it, showing it in specific places, depending upon what the target is.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just a short message.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
so an insight for those listening or watching later. We use a OneNote. Eventually, we're going to use probably a Loop. Who knows?
I highly
But
doubt it,
hey,
because
hey,
well, no, I ran into it this week. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use Loop. I was doing it, Daryl.
yeah, you
I
were.
was
I'm so
going to
proud.
use Loop to work on a workshop that Joanne Klein and I are giving in DC for TechCon 365.
I can hear it
However,
coming.
I have a sensitivity label
Yep.
deployed in my tenant, and therefore I cannot externally share.
And you know
So,
what? Probably Joanne's too.
oh
You know,
yeah, no,
given what she does, Joanne, yeah,
no,
Klein
no, no.
may have sensitivity labels.
Yeah, she's probably got like 100, and I have one, I think.
Yep.
Just because I tried it out in that specific
Yep.
tenant. Anyway,
Okay.
so
So
no,
you'll be waiting for that feature.
we're staying with OneNote until forever.
Okay. Got it.
So this one I think is a quick one if we
Quick
do
mention.
it. Yeah,
Right. So we put a Q beside that in our OneNote to say
yeah,
it may be a quick mention.
yeah.
Right.
It's maybe
Yeah.
unless the people who are watching right now live tell us in chat, no, you definitely should or you definitely shouldn't. Then we
Yeah.
go back through the messages that we've already looked at and go, okay, what can we fit in within our timetable, um, and our constraints of what's important or not.
Yeah. If we get on our soapboxes
Right.
or get inspired and go off on a tangent. What did we decide about the one before that, which is the Teams meeting chat? We'll use the transcript. We're going to skip that one because it's self-evident.
Um,
Should we go back and just ask the people who may be watching this? Okay, tell us what you think. If you may or may not see this message in your message center, but let's just go through it quickly. When you use Copilot in a meeting, you can ask it questions of the meeting as it's running. But that requires you to either be recording the meeting or have transcription turned on. Makes sense, right?
For the meeting,
Because it's
yep.
using the words and you can ask questions. This weird message is saying, now within the Teams meeting chat, you will be able to access the transcript data if it's available. But beforehand, if you weren't recording or transcribing your meeting, you're not going to get anything from the transcript. Yeah.
right. So we're a little confused as to what in the world is changing here.
Yep.
And I think it could be, and you talked about this when we originally talked about this about 5 minutes before we did this whole live thing.
Yeah.
Is that it's instead of Copilot in the meeting, it's Copilot in the chat
Yeah.
area of within the meeting.
It's a UX thing,
Yeah.
I think. Because you'll push the Copilot button and get the Copilot panel, and you
Right.
can ask questions. We've been able to do that. That makes sense.
Yep.
But this is talking about Copilot in the chat panel, I think.
Yes.
So we're confused. And again, this is an insight that we want to share with people with these little live planning sessions.
Yeah.
That we read through this stuff and we try and make sense of it. And sometimes we obsess over silly details like
We
this.
do. Sometimes we spend 30 minutes talking about a detail like this on one message. It's not lying. We're trying to bring quality content, people. All right. So Christopher agrees. Yeah, it doesn't feel like news, so we're not doing that one.
We should, if we get really fancy with this, Daniel, one day we'll have like a little like
a poll
sound effect or something that comes across the screen and chucks it as a piece of paper.
Oh, right.
You know, like the bowling animations.
Or like the whammy. Did you down south in the southern hemisphere have Pressure Luck?
Than you.
Yeah.
No.
Pressure Luck, the game show a long time ago? No? Oh. Okay. Right. So maybe we'll come back to that. But let's
blitz that one off our list.
So go back to the message center and
remove the favorites filter.
Yep. And then it's the first one. Legacy Outlook Clients Retirement Plan.
Refreshing. Still refreshing.
Yep.
There it is. Oops. Huh. What? Legacy Outlook
Retirement Plan.
Legacy Outlook. Is this classic Outlook or?
Yes, I guess. Okay. Yep. But what I'm confused about this one, I just read it quickly because it just came in. We had already started looking at messages before this came out. It says for organizations that use vanity domains.
Yep.
Okay. And their users are on the following version of clients, they're basically going to lose functionality. What does it mean by vanity domains?
Well, when I hear vanity domain, I think of, like mine, modernworkmentor.com, yours. What is yours again?
Well, CollabFront.
Yeah. But you don't have, you can use that as an email domain, but...
So this is my confusion on this is vanity domain. The only time that I have seen it being called out as for a functionality thing is actually on the SharePoint side, because there are some companies that were like, Microsoft, we're huge, we're bringing these tens of thousands and sometimes even more users. We don't want your stinking SharePoint.com domain in SharePoint Online. We want to use big behemoth company.com. And so they've used those vanity domains. So I'm trying to figure out is it that, or is it actually just using vanity domain being a custom domain in email? And if so, that's going to be pretty much everybody. That's going to be like 90-something% of everybody in 365, right?
So Christopher thinks it's a typo. It is weird. I would have thought like a vanity domain. And first of all, what is this affecting? Is it affecting the sending and receiving of email using a vanity domain with any of these mail clients? I think not, really.
It doesn't specifically. Well, it says user actually for Outlook, iOS, Android, Mac, Windows Mail, blah, blah, blah. Users will no longer be able to send or receive new mails when this change is applied. Once this change is applied, legacy Outlook clients will no longer be supported.
How is that even remotely linked to the version of a mail client? Because your mail client should be able to go to your server, which is receiving your mail or sending it on your behalf, and just serve up what's in your mailbox. Why would it be dependent on a client?
Well, we already knew Windows Mail was going away. Right? We already knew that. Yeah. And then it's saying for iOS and Android and Mac, it's a version older than X. So this is not Outlook Classic.
Outlook for iOS? No.
No. This is not Outlook Classic, meaning the classic, versus the new experience in Outlook.
Yeah.
That's not that. This is iOS, Android, and Mac, older
Oh,
versions, and then Windows Mail.
right.
But then it throws on this whole vanity domains thing.
Hmm. Encourage users to switch to the new Outlook for Windows. Well,
I
good
bet you
luck.
do.
I mean, you and I use it, but um, good luck to that. Um, but I mean, definitely for Android and iOS. I mean, I don't know how do people stay on an older version of those apps?
Old phone. I mean, if you have like an
Mm,
iPhone
true.
8 or 6 or something, then you can't
Yep.
upgrade to a new version of iOS
Right.
Outlook.
So this could be a tipping point for people having to get a new phone if email is important to them, or
Or they'll
do
just
they
use their
just use another
browser.
email
Although
client?
the browser won't be updated either, right? Like,
Hmm.
because, yeah.
Yeah. So if users are using an old browser, they receive an error message.
Hmm.
Wow. I mean, this is all security based, isn't it? Surely. This
Yep.
can't be just tied to vanity domain.
Yep.
Very strange. All right. Do we want to cover it? Again, so neither of us are Exchange experts, if it's not clear already.
No, but I think for this one, I think it makes total sense because we've already covered the whole Windows Mail going away. That was a long time
Mm.
ago when we covered that.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a, you know, I, I vote it's not a thing that
Mm-hmm.
that is notable enough
Okay.
for us to cover.
Okay. So to round this out, if we've covered all the messages, what we'll do is
Mm.
I'll share the OneNote.
Oh no, let me fix my typos then. If you're going to share the OneNote, oh, in the world! Come on, let
And
me. It's like let me
oh,
put
you're
on a shirt
serious?
first.
What?
It's
It's an expression.
yeah.
Share. There we go. All right. So far we've got. Okay. So our notation here, cues, quick messages. We can cover briefly, talk about it. It's pretty clear what it is, and it's a minor change, but worth talking about.
Yeah.
Those that we don't have a cue beside, standard message. We try and alternate. Sometimes we see messages that we can group together and talk about because they talk about similar or the same thing. What have we got so far? Daniel, Daryl, Daniel, Daryl, Daniel. I need one more just to
Yep.
be even.
Did you see
What
my
do I want to talk about?
my little update up there?
Hi, everyone. Well, okay. So another
So
thing,
fun.
everyone, that we find fun with this. This is why I want to move to loop once we can. Synchronization speeds. All right.
So we at this point we go through and we go, okay, so everybody could see this. We have 8 messages. We typically
Mm-hmm.
don't do 8 messages unless there's a lot of quick ones. We do have a few quick ones here, but that's what the queue means. But that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily mean it's actually really quick. So now we think about, you know, basically now it's production. Now it's
Yep.
okay. Are there some things on here that are not worthy
Mm-hmm.
of being on the show, or is it a time constraint? Because we could do more, and it would be a much longer show, and we get much less viewership. So this is kind of the time we do culling and we do assignments and say,
Yep.
okay, who's going to cover these things?
Yes. I think I guess the one more, but it's a quick mention. Maybe it is worth talking about that change. Oh no, it's just files. I was just thinking, I got confused there. Like sometimes a change in the name and the user interface is
In
important to
Teams,
tell people,
yeah.
especially if it's changing. Just because I don't do it so often doesn't mean that it isn't important to our viewers. Maybe is what I'm getting at.
So
Because
you're
I think you said that it is
yeah.
useful.
Yeah, I think for that one, it's very quick, and I think it is a change for users, so I think we need to keep it.
Okay, so let's put my name against that.
As
That's
long as
my
you can talk
third.
quick about it.
I can do that.
I don't know.
I know sometimes we say we're going to do it quickly and we get all caught up.
Yeah.
Was the Amplify one worth covering? Is that user? Yes. Well, Liz will be happy.
I think if I think we keep it quick on the
Yep.
quick list and we keep going. Let's review and make sure, and then it might be one that we call. But let's see.
Okay. So we just leave it there and then someone take it if we decide to? Okay.
So the top one got my name on it. The second one, viewing attachments. I think that is a quick one, but I think it's a good one to cover.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Bridging the gap between the differences in Teams and Outlook.
Do we drag some of these in a slightly different order?
Okay, so now we're back to the Amplify
Daniel,
one.
Daryl. Daniel. Daryl.
Burl.
Oh no, they're quick. I'm doing a lot of quick ones, so maybe it's okay that I'm doing 4 and you're doing 3.
I think so. I think we cut the Amplify one.
Yep. Amplify is quick because extra licenses thingy.
It is extra licensing. But I feel like it's using see, and there's multiple layers here we go through of like trying to figure things out. One thing is, it's an extra license, but Amplify's it's actually kind of a big deal for communicators. However, SharePoint audience targeting is not a new thing. It's just bringing additional, that same functionality to Amplify.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's not big enough for us to cover. It's on the border. It's on the, but I think we should cut that.
We're done. All right. So that's our list, and
Indeed.
thank you to those who joined us live and engaged in the chat. Let us know if this was fun, because we kind of felt it was.
Yeah.
Andre, all-terrain consultant. I was expecting a loop component. I know we talked about that. Just to recap quickly, guest access to loop is a tricky thing. Actually, Daniel, I'm not using security sensitivity labels. I could be sharing.
Are you
the
sure?
loop with
You sure you haven't created one in the past just to play around with it?
Nope.
Well, then we should be using loop because you could share it with me.
Okay, we'll sort
All
that.
right.
Thank you for the nudge there, Andreas.
All right, now we are going to say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much. We're going to stop the live stream, and then we're going to go record. So you will see when you watch the episode at the beginning of the week, you will have some insight on how we do this and what we're going to cover. And again, we greatly appreciate you jumping in and watching and giving us some insights.
And Daniel, if we had like membership or Patreon, we could have their names screaming up the side of the page, like
so
how
great.
everyone does that. Yeah, wow, these guys. Anyway, thanks all. We will see you again. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.